The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Any health advice given, whether general, diet, physical or spiritual, is general only and must be verified by your doctor. If you need medical advice, please consult a doctor.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the latest edition of the Health and Fitness Show. I am Suliman Rafiq, your host for today, and delighted to say I'm alongside my main man Fahad Matin, and we are broadcasting live from the studios of Inspire FM today on the 7th of November 2019, reaching listeners in Luton and surrounding areas on 105.1 FM. As always, you can join us via the Inspire FM website, and if you prefer to watch as well as listen, you can do that via Facebook. All you have to do is go to the Inspire FM Facebook page and click on our live link. Having your interaction on the show makes all the difference, so why not get involved? You can do that by text or WhatsApp on 0777 948 1822, or you can call the studio on 01582 481 822. Today's show is all going to be about diabetes and diabetes management, but just before we get on to that, hopefully listeners would have heard that this Sunday, the 10th of November 2019, Hockwell Ring Masjid are hosting an Autism Hour in the Masjid from 10 to 12 a.m. with the aim of engaging autistic individuals of all faiths and none and their families to see what goes on in the mosque. This will include a guided tour, a low volume adhan, designated quiet areas and some special activities. There is an Eventbrite page, so if you'd like to know more, just search Autism Hour in the Mosque Luton for more information. So, on with today's show. What we know is that people from Pakistani and Bangladeshi communities are known to be up to 6 times more likely to have type 2 diabetes than the general population. In addition, South Asians tend to have poorer diabetes management, putting them at higher risk of serious health complications. South Asians without diabetes are also 3 times more likely to develop cardiovascular disease, but combined with type 2 diabetes, this risk rises even further, particularly for adults with type 2 diabetes from ages 20 to 60. Furthermore, the survival rates in these patients are also significantly lower compared to the Caucasian population. And that's why we're dedicating an hour today to the important topic of diabetes and diabetes management. Just before we get to the questions, I'm feeling the pressure here today because Fahad Matin, aka Mr. Miyagi, is sitting right opposite me. How you doing, Fahad?
Alhamdulillah.
You're doing well, yeah?
Alhamdulillah. What's Mr. Miyagi?
Mr. Miyagi is the main man in Karate Kid. He teaches the next generation karate.
I have no idea about that.
Oh, really? He's like the Don. He's like the guru, man. He's,
Oh, right, okay.
Because, Fahad Matin, this is your show. So we're just guests. How are you keeping?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, very well. You're a bit late today.
Yes, I was stuck in the diabetes prevention meeting myself.
You were in the diabetes prevention meeting?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You know my day job as well, mate. Today I'm pretty much guest in my own show.
Okay, fantastic. Well, as well as Fahad, I'm delighted to say we have some expert guests with us, and I'm just going to ask them to introduce themselves. If I could start with yourself.
So my name is Kosin Fiaz, and I'm a community diabetes specialist nurse.
Okay, my name's Fida, and I'm community diabetes support worker.
Great. Finally.
And I'm Hurriyat Nisa. I'm a patient.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for giving up your time to be with us this evening. It's really helpful to have your expert knowledge and your experience of being on the program as well. So just before we get into the details of it, I'd just like to clarify what is diabetes?
Okay. So diabetes is a condition that occurs when there's too much glucose, sugar in the blood. So when we eat food or drink that contain carbohydrates, so for example, bread, rice, chapati, fruits even, they get broken down in our stomach and they turn into glucose. This gets released into the bloodstream, and from there it needs to get into the cells of our body to be used as energy. So this is when the hormone is needed. It's called insulin. It comes from the pancreas. This sits behind the stomach. This recognises when the blood glucose levels have gone up, and it starts to release insulin, which acts like a key, allowing the glucose to enter into the cells where it's used as energy. For people that have diabetes, this system does not work the way we want it to work. So instead of getting into the cells, the glucose just increases into the bloodstream and goes higher and higher.
Sure. And so often we hear about type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. What is the difference between type 1 and type 2?
Okay, so type 1 normally is for people who it tends to start to happen earlier in life. So someone with type 1 diabetes, they have no production of insulin whatsoever. This is because it's an autoimmune attack on the beta cells which destroy the insulin. So there's no production of insulin whatsoever. So someone with type 1 diabetes, in order to survive, they need insulin. We don't really know what the cause is. We think it might be perhaps a genetic link, or it may be caused by other factors like viruses. But like I said, we don't really know. So there's about 5% of people that have type 1 diabetes in Luton. Type 2 diabetes, there's about 95% of people that have diabetes. And this has the same outcome, but a very different cause. In this type of diabetes, initially, the insulin is produced, but it struggles to open the cell doors to allow that glucose to enter. So this is the fat around the cells, which is not allowing the insulin to open that cell lock. We call this insulin resistance. Over a period of time, your pancreas is working harder and harder, and then what happens is you have less production of insulin, so your pancreas is not able to produce enough insulin over a period of time.
Okay, so type 2 is by far the more common type of diabetes, and so 95% of diabetes is type 2.
Yeah.
And that, if I've understood correctly, then it's about the cells not doing what they need to do and not allowing the glucose to come in. Is that right?
Yeah. So the fat around the cells.
The fat around the cells.
Which we call it insulin resistance. So the key is trying to open that door. The insulin is trying to open that door around the cells, but it can't open that lock because there's fat around that cell. So we call that insulin resistance. Over a period of time, then the pancreas is not able to produce enough insulin.
Yep. Did you want to come in there?
No.
Oh, okay. So,
I just want to say with type 2 diabetes is lifestyle changes can make a big difference, which we'll talk throughout the session.
Sure, and that'd be really helpful to know more about.
And sorry, one of the things is that type 2 diabetes is something which we can all avoid, and this is something which people don't realize and understand, and that's why the prevention campaign is very, very hard. And as you just mentioned, that people from the South Asian background are 6 times more higher prevalent than the normal people to become type 2 diabetics, and also our physical physical activities play a major role in that. I was just with Dr. Chirag Bakai earlier, and he was giving me all the stats. Apparently, he say apologies. He wanted to come, but unfortunately, he got stuck with another board meeting where he was going to after our meeting. So, according to him, the stats for people who are active and non-active. So, in the white affluent population, most of the people are quite healthy and active, whereas in Asian populations, people from subcontinent, they are quite big variation. So there are very big community who are extremely active, and they're extremely double that size of the community who are not very active, and because of the weather is one of the biggest factor, and our food is also play a major role in that.
Sure. Because I remember when, like, growing up and being told, like, X or Y person had sugar. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's
people
the term
still
they normally use, sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah, because if a patient comes to you, they'll say, I've got sugar ki bimari.
Unfortunately, today although I'm a presenter for this, for my panels on this side. Normally I'm the host of this show alongside with Suliman, but today I'm here as a person on professional side. I'm the lead commissioner for diabetes for Bedfordshire CCG, and from that my responsibility is to make sure all the necessary services have been commissioned for people, our general public, for all the Bedfordshire, including Luton as well, and certain things which are a bit kind of bit awkward in that sense is that people from our background, our community, जो हम अपने हैं, जब जिनको there are people who say, yeah, sugar हो गई, कौन सी बड़ी बात है, it's just a sugar, but it's not just a sugar. People जो होते हैं, most of the people don't realize that diabetes is the main cause of bringing all the comorbidity problems. For example, heart disease, kidney disease, other comorbidity issues comes in
so
as well.
We'll be talking
Exactly.
later,
Absolutely. So, and that's because, and like everyone, you say, oh, X or Y person has sugar, Falana has sugar, etc., etc., and it just felt like everyone had it when we were like younger. So, what are some of the symptoms of diabetes?
The signs and symptoms of diabetes: somebody can experience feeling more thirst, excessive thirst, passing urine a lot, and dry mouth. So, feeling also tiredness. Some people even end up, have weight loss as well. And some people don't experience any symptoms at all. This can be due to, because these days they're having regular health checks done, so it could be detected earlier on. So they might not experience any symptoms at all. Or it could be sometimes the body is used to having high blood glucose levels that the body does not recognize something is not right, or so that could be the reason for some people not having any symptoms.
Sure. And like in your experience, tends to be a certain age with type 2 diabetes that people get to, and then it seems to be more prevalent, or does it not really work like that?
It doesn't really work like that. There was times where it used to be that type 2 diabetes, people will be getting the late onset of age of 40. But nowadays, it's happening, even younger people are getting type 2 diabetes as well. So there's not sort of age nowadays.
Sure. And so we're going to be coming on to talk about in terms of the service that your organisation offers, and we're very fortunate to have a patient who's benefited from that as well. Just before we get on to the ins and outs of the service, one of the things Fahad just mentioned was around the fact that type 2 diabetes can be prevented. So can you just explain in terms of what would a person need to do to prevent type 2 diabetes?
So type 2 diabetes can potentially be prevented if you have a borderline diabetes. So by making lifestyle changes, your diet and being more active, you can prevent by getting diabetes. So diet and activity is the main factor that, if you focus on that, you can, prevent from getting diabetes. However, there are some changes that you are unable to make sort of, risk factors such as your age, ethnic group, and family history. So, these are the things, that you can't change.
You can't change.
Yeah.
But if you are South Asian, if you do eat well and take physical activity, then it can be prevented, can't it? But it's just more.
It can be prevented, but if you have got other risk factors like family history, and age or certain medical conditions and things like that, if you're on certain medication, these are your higher risk factors where you can develop type 2 diabetes.
So you have to be even stronger in terms of the amount of.
So it's like you'll have to work a bit more extra hard, harder.
Absolutely. And just from your experience, is it more the food and diet side of things, or is it the exercise? If you had to kind of prioritize one.
I think both are important.
Yeah.
Both.
Because often people do a lot of exercise, but because they're not eating the right foods, it's not having the benefits that they'd like it to have in terms of like with weight loss and this kind of thing as well. Yeah. I know with obesity services, they particularly talk about how important the food side is. So a lot of people get disappointed because they're doing all this physical activity, but they're not losing weight. But a lot of it is down to the fact that they're not eating the right foods and things like that, which we'll come on to talk about more. There's Fahad, there's more and more now about this concept of being pre-diabetic. Can you just explain what that means? And
well, pre-diabetic, it's a term which means that you are at very high risk of becoming a diabetic very soon, which means and that can only be deducted by getting a blood test done. Okay, so you need for that, and unfortunately, as we have already mentioned this, that South Asian unfortunately are 6 times more higher at risk group than the normal population. And when I said South Asian, that means all BME communities, including Black and other minorities as well. And people who are the only way you can find out is that if you are in that age group and your BMI is above 30. That the best thing to do is to, or if you are concerned about it, if you go to Diabetes UK website and there's a tool called Know Your Risk tool. If you fill that template, it's an online template. If you follow that through, it will give you it will strategize or risk score you with your height, weight, and general details. You do not need to give any of your personal details because it will not ask you any of your personal details. So it will be very generic. It will ask you height, weight, and definitely ethnicity, and that will automatically give you a rating where which rating you comes in. Either you are a very low risk, high risk, or very high risk, and on that it gives you an advice to contact your GP surgery and get the blood test done. So then anybody who has the highest risk, or if you get that information from that particular tool, which is Know Your Risk tool, you can go to that. That individual can go to their GP practice and get the blood test, get an appointment to see a healthcare clinician, i.e. a nurse, a GP, or a healthcare assistant, and get the blood test done. And depending on what is the blood test results comes in play, because they will do a fasting blood glucose test. And if the range is between 5.5 and 6.5, that means you are NDH, which is non-diabetic hypoglycemic, i.e. pre-diabetic, or the people who are very high prevalent of becoming diabetics. So then they will, if you are in that range, you will be then referred to a program called the NHS Diabetes Prevention Program, where it's an intervention of 9 months, where there will be a 6-week core, 4 to 6 week core intervention, and then a monthly intervention on face-to-face or online. And people who cannot have or cannot commit to this very long program, there's an online option available for them as well.
Sure. So
Can I just mention also that we've got a prevention program which is called Walkaway. So that is like a 3-hour session, which people who have been found out
Walk
they're on
away with
borderline.
diabetes, yes.
Yeah, so they come to a walk away program which I deliver, which is done on a Friday. So it's a 3-hour session which they can attend as well.
So if anybody wants to do a short course or short duration
course.
as well, or need to know a bit about it, then the Walk Away with Diabetes is also a very good tool by CCS.
What you're referring to is for people with pre-diabetes, isn't it?
Yes, both of them.
So
the
both of them
Walk
for
Away.
pre-diabetes.
So Walk Away is also a very. Thank you so much for reminding me. I completely forgot about it.
That's the one we do on Friday. So some people don't want to commit to 9 months because they haven't got time or because of work commitments and things like that. So then they get referred to Walk Away, which is only just a 3-hour session.
Fantastic.
So that is for pre-diabetics as well.
And is Walk Away available in different languages? And
Yes.
No, at the moment we're only doing it in English at the moment.
At the moment, and it's Fridays.
But there is, which I'm going to talk, we will be talking about, is they can also come to Living with the Diabetes, which we do in Urdu. So some of the pre-diabetics also get referred to that one as well, and they do gain similar type of information.
Sure. Listeners, why not get involved? And you can do that by call or text on, what's the number, Fahad?
07779481822. That's the text number, WhatsApp number. Or you can call on 01582481822.
Fantastic. Having your interaction really makes all the difference. I appreciate everyone who does get in touch. We've had one question come in, and that is diabetes life-threatening?
Well, that depends on what the person class it's at, but I'll leave the clinicians to it. So,
there's with diabetes there's actually complications of diabetes as well. So when you have poorly controlled diabetes, having high blood glucose levels, this damages your blood vessels. This damages the large blood vessels and the small vessels, and it actually damages your nerves. So like Fahad, you spoke earlier on, it causes heart disease, so heart attack, stroke, circulation problem. It causes kidney disease, so if you might need to go on dialysis as well. It causes
increases risk of getting cholesterols, which automatically have any side effects as well.
Causes problems to the eyes, so it can lead to blindness. It causes problems to the feet, the nerves, can lead to amputation. So absolutely, if you do not control your diabetes, it can cause serious problems to your body. So you're not just dealing with those complications, you're still having to deal with your diabetes as well. And not to mention the psychological impact it has as well.
Because I think that's one of the things, because it is so common. I know when with friends and family, etc., people make really light of it. As have something sweet. Oh, I've got diabetes. This kind of thing. But actually, there's a very serious side to this as well, isn't there?
Unfortunately, it is, and people don't realize it. And that's what it is. Because when somebody is diagnosed with diabetes, sometimes it's a bit kind of hard to understand. And definitely, I want to ask our patient who have already gone through that journey that all of a sudden you're normal, you're having a normal lifestyle, everything is going hunky-dory, and all of a sudden a blood test came and you just went to your GP, and the GP or the healthcare professional say, oh, you have diabetes, here you go, that's the next set of medicines you have to take every single day. Now, sometimes those medications are between 3 and 5 tablets every single day for the rest of their life. And they said, okay, now what do I need to do? Sometimes people take because that person don't feel that bad. So sorry, I'll like you to rope you in. How was your experience so far in terms of from the day you'd known as that you're diabetic until this day?
As I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I was just handed, as you said, tablets, didn't know where to go, just eat them. But I was not told what to eat or what not to eat, like food-wise, or was there any exercise, or do I need to lose weight? And what was, side effects to everything. I mean, anything you have is side effects.
So, if you don't mind me asking, when were you diagnosed with diabetes?
About 8 years ago.
Okay, and since that day, what happened? So, when you were diagnosed with diabetes, what was your journey? So, did you went to your GP regularly, or did you take your medication regularly in your first year or so?
I did took my medicine regularly every day, but it was sort of like it was playing up and down because there was food role as well. I was not told what to eat and what not to eat. So it was sort of like I could eat matai or anything, and I think I could have my tablet at the same time, so I'll be fine. But didn't know how much to eat.
Sure. We are fast approaching a break, so I'm conscious of that. Please do get in touch with any questions. The questions we've had in, I'm going to come to after the break, and we're going to look at a lot more detail in terms of the sister's journey in relation to how she got involved with the program, the different services that are available, because we are very fortunate in Luton to have so many different services that are available. One of the questions just before we go to the break is around a point being made that with it being so common, are mosques being used for awareness and prevention messages?
Well, yes and no in different ways. As I said, I'm not expert in that to give proper guidance, but there are certain things which has been preached by a mosque and our religious leaders, but definitely most of these things been highlighted by our healthcare professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do offer a range of programs as well, and I know that we've even been to the mosque actually to advertise our Desmond programs and living with diabetes and different in Urdu as well.
Fantastic. So you are making that effort to try and get in touch with them.
We've actually been to the mosque, given out our leaflets and trying to just really highlight, what services are available to everyone, that has diabetes.
Great. So we're going to be looking at all the different services just after the advertisement break. So we're going to look really into detail for people that are living in Luton like yourself that are fully aware of all the different services that are available. So please do stay with us, and we'll be back after this short break.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz and you're listening to an Inspire FM podcast.
Any health advice given, whether general, diet, physical or spiritual, is general only and must be verified by your doctor. If you need medical advice, please consult a doctor.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Health and Fitness Show. I am your host for today, Suliman Rafiq, and we are broadcasting live from the studios of Inspire FM today on Thursday, the 7th of November. I forgot what date it was then, Fahad.
That's what happens when you're doing
multitasking. 7th of November 2019, broadcasting live on 105.1 FM. And I'm delighted to say I'm here with the main man, Mr. Fahad Matin. Assalamu alaikum, Fahad.
Walaikum salam. And today I'm not the host, I'm the guest on this show. Yeah. I'm the guest on my own show.
Yeah.
So I'm Fahad Matin, and today I'm representing my professional career, which is the lead commissioner for diabetes for Bedfordshire CCG. And joining me today is one of the patients,
Hurriyat Nisa.
And two other clinicians who are
Peter.
Yeah. And Kosin, and we're from the Cambridge Community Service NHS Trust, working with the Luton Adult Community Health Service.
Perfect, great. Thank you very much all for giving up your time to be with us this evening. It really helps to have your expert opinions. So today's program is dedicated to the topic of diabetes and diabetes management. So just before the break, we had a question in from a listener, and we encourage all of our listeners to get involved, and they can do that by text or WhatsApp on
07779481822. That's the text and WhatsApp line, and the phone number is
01582481822.
I love that, man. I love putting everybody on the.
It's nice to know it's not just you that's nervous.
Yeah.
See, I'm putting our host on nervous lines as well. So,
but just before we went on the break, we had a question, a serious question about how serious diabetes is, and if diabetes is life-threatening, and that's one of the main issues that we're looking to discuss today is around the management of diabetes. So could I just ask you to pick that up?
Yeah, absolutely. So like we mentioned before, is that if your diabetes is poorly managed, then absolutely there's risks involved with diabetes. But on a more positive note, if you are managing your diabetes, like Fida mentioned and Fahad, like with those lifestyle changes, so if you're, you're doing your activity, you're managing your diet well, then actually you're going to reduce your chances of getting those diabetes complications and also those symptoms that Fida mentioned earlier on as well. So you can manage your diabetes and you can reduce your chances of complications.
Fantastic.
And the other thing is it's very important that you take your medication the way you have been advised regularly, because sometimes you get some patients coming in and they think they've given a medication, they think it's just one off, they don't need to get a repeat.
Yeah.
So that's when everything starts going wrong. But diabetes medication, never to stop it until, if the doctor advises you to stop it, but you do need to get your repeat and take it regularly.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, and I think taking the repeat, etc., is important as well. But also, because I know my mum's really bad at this in terms of she'll like reduce and and she's not taking it the way it's been prescribed. So it's been prescribed that way for a reason. So you should stick to the advice that you've been given by the clinician. Absolutely. So we'd love to know more about the services that are available in Luton, and we're really lucky to have a patient who's benefited from some of these services. So could you just tell us a little bit more about the program and what inspired you to join the program?
I was referred by my diabetic nurse. So Desmond was really good. She, referred me to Desmond so that they can help me with my food-wise and exercise. And it was a group session where everybody was same. So they all were diabetic, and it was really helpful.
Sure. And so just to clarify, for Desmond, do you have to be referred by a health professional? How does that work?
It's not
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For Desmond as well, you need to be referred by a health professional, because Desmond is basically people who are diagnosed diabetics or newly diagnosed diabetics, to be honest. So if you are newly diagnosed diabetics, you will be seen by your GP nurse or GP practice nurse or GP, and they will do a set of questionnaire, and then they will be the person who will be referring you to Desmond program, where then our lovely colleagues from CCS normally pick it up, and then they've been looked after the patients who have been referred.
And so from your perspective, what benefits have you had as a result of being on the program?
Change of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Food wise, you can eat everything, but it has to be handful, it has to be portion, not like eating only one type of food.
Right.
So it's fruit, everything is involved with sugar, but you have to eat like certain things at certain time, and it has to be like portion wise.
Yeah.
So that's what an exercise, and it's not only me who's diabetic. There's so many people who are out there who will benefit from this Desmond program.
Absolutely. And is there any other kind of benefits that you want to highlight?
So just going back to, you were saying how do you refer, just what Fahad was saying, it's your healthcare practitioner, but you can actually self-refer now as well for Desmond program. So if you do have diabetes, you don't actually need to wait for your healthcare practitioner to refer you. You can self-refer now as well.
Fantastic. And so they can, if you search online around Desmond Luton, you find more information about that?
Yeah, and we can give the contact details as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. Do you want to do that now if you've got them?
So 0333 405
405 3128.
Fantastic, thank you. And so you were referred by a healthcare professional for the program.
My diabetic nurse.
Your diabetic nurse, but obviously you've made the effort to then, after the referral, actually join onto the program.
Yes, it's a day course, but by listening to it as a day course, you get frightened, think it's a whole day, what you're going to do. But I really enjoyed it. It's really enjoyable to go there and learn. It's, you're getting educated about diabetes and what involves and what are side effects to it. And it's really, really helpful.
Sure.
I would strongly recommend people to go and, go to these programs, and it will help them.
Yeah. And have you recommended anyone else that that has diabetes to get involved?
Yes.
Yeah.
Friends, colleagues.
Yeah. And they've all had a similar experience to yourself?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they've enjoyed it.
They are sort of like speaking to their diabetic nurses and doctors saying, look, we like to go to Desmond as well.
Great, fantastic. And how long have you guys been involved in the program for?
I've been working with the diabetes team since 2008.
Okay.
So that's the point when the team was just created. So since then I've been involved 2008. So I do various programs. So like I do Desmond, I do Walkaway, I do Living with the Diabetes in Urdu, and my colleague who works with me, she does Living with Diabetes in Bengali.
Right.
So I've been involved from the beginning.
Okay.
With the diabetes team.
So Desmond, we've spoken about, it's a one-day course for people that have diabetes. So I've understood that, but then you've named some other programs there. Can you explain them?
Living with the diabetes is mainly targeted at South Asian patients, so you don't have to be from like Pakistan or something, but people who are able to understand the Urdu, they can be also referred to it. So that program you attend for Living with the Diabetes in Urdu, it's a 3-hour session.
Right.
It's mainly held on a Monday from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So once you've attended that program, then if your HbA1c, if your diabetes is high, more than 69 mmol, then I do another program which is called mentorship program, which I follow the patient for 6 months to help them to achieve their target with their HbA1c. So we work together, and then I see them once a month, and they start making changes and follow the advice which is going. So then we review them after 4 weeks to see if the changes are being effective. Then we repeat their HbA1c again in 3 months and see if that has made a difference. It's always, we've had success stories where within 3 months, by taking their medication regularly, by changing their lifestyle and doing more physical activity, they've actually improved their diabetes. And also they've gained knowledge about what is diabetes and how to self-manage their diabetes.
And so you've been involved in the program for a long time, and it's nice that you're talking about success stories, because I think in the first half of the show we were talking about a lot of the symptoms, etc. But actually you've seen success. One of the calls we had in from a listener was about whether or not it's possible to reverse diabetes. Can you give us some more information on that?
Well, diabetes, it cannot be reversed, but you can sort of go into remission. By making lifestyle changes, you can sort of control your diabetes. But say, for instance, for example, if you made those lifestyle changes and your HbA1c is gone into target, and then you've stopped doing that, then what will happen to the diabetes? It will be still there, so your blood glucose levels will go high again. So it's not curable, but it's controllable.
Sure. And just for clarity, because we keep saying HbA1c, not everyone might know what we mean when we're saying that. Fahad?
I'll leave it to the clinicians.
So HbA1c is a blood test that's done, and what this blood test shows an average control of your diabetes in the last 3 months. So it's a bit like if you think about football. When you do a finger prick, it will tell you what your blood sugar level is now. Your HbA1c is going to be your long-term result. So when you look at your league table, it's going to give you an overall result. Actually, what is your team been doing? So it's a bit like, how's your diabetes been doing overall long-term? And that's quite a good indication, really, because it will help you, the patient, to know, actually, I've been making lifestyle changes. Has this helped?
Yeah.
Or actually, what I've been doing hasn't helped. Do I need to change a medication? Helps the GP and practice nurse make decisions in terms of their plan.
And so with the program you described, do you generally see positive changes with the HbA1c?
So far, I've been doing it since 2008. It's always positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was your experience?
Food control. I mean, right now I'm off medication because of lifestyle and exercise and food control. I controlled my food, and that's why I'm off my medication now.
So you're not taking...
No, I'm not taking any medication at the moment, thankfully.
And that has happened after a graduation, gradually reducing all your, maintaining your food intake and so forth. And during that time, you were taking medications.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
So, for people who are extremely diabetic or very high levels of diabetes, people who've been think are, because when a person is diabetic, they've been given medication, and if the diabetes is not controlled, they end up having insulins as well for type 2. Well, whereas type 1 will always have insulins. So people who are on insulins, there are a program called low calorie diet, which has been announced by NHS England, and hopefully we will be rolling a pilot program soon in Luton as well, which is a very specific diet plan, and it's a 12 months intervention and so forth, and follow up as well, which allow them to reduce their diabetes levels to a normal level, and hopefully back to the normal patient lines where you do not have to take any medications. But at the same time, you have to make sure your diet is balanced. You will be doing necessary exercise, and definitely you have to control your food, because as I remember my fellow Dr. Abu Bakr always says, we can control what we eat, so we have to control what we eat.
Yep.
But sometimes that is easier said than done, isn't it?
Indeed,
Which is why programs like this are
indeed,
so helpful.
and one of the other things people can do is things like going out for a normal walk or a jog, and it's much easier said than done. I remember Dr. Abu Bakr was asking me to join to do a park run since almost 6 to 8 months, and as you can see, I am obese. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm trying to lose my weight, and last week I did join park run, and I was surprised because I was picked one of the worst days when it was raining like hell, and I was surprised to see that there were more than 300 people standing there to that park run, and you don't have to run it. You can walk it along the course of 5 kilometers, which is like 2 circuits of the whole Warden Park. And it was raining, and there was people from all ethnicity, background, race, caste, age, and I was surprised to see that whether you are white, black, Asian, non-Asian, Muslim, non-Muslim, child from 3-year-old to a person who is like 80 or something year old, they're walking, they're running, their fathers with the pram, their mothers with the pram, the people who the sisters who were wearing hijab with the pram running. So I was surprised, and I was extremely shocked, and to be honest, by seeing this, I said, yeah, this is something I need to do every single week.
Did you finish?
Yes, alhamdulillah. I ended up in 287th position.
Wow.
So, and there was almost 100 people behind me as well. So you can understand there were more people as well.
Fahad, can I ask one question? So what type of walking did you do? Was it fast one, or was it just...
I did a mixture, because I normally, my normal routine is that I at least do 3 days a week exercise kind of thing. Because one of my bad habits is that I will only preach something which I have personally tried. So I will only ask for people to do exercise in my job when I myself do the same thing. So I do interval running myself of half an hour, which consists of walking 2 minutes and running 3 minutes and 2 minutes walking. So by doing that, I achieve my like 4 or 5 kilometers in about half an hour's time. So, but unfortunately, because it was raining, it's my very first time outdoor running. So it took me almost 45 minutes to run the circuit.
So I just want to make sure that we've covered, because there's lots of different services that are available, and Fida, you've been involved for over 10 years and you've got a wealth of experience, and I think it's honest to say, if I had diabetes, I'm that scared of you that I think I'll be listening to everything you say as well.
I think most of my patients are scared of me, because sometimes they come and they said I've been good because I thought I'll go and Fida will get upset with me.
I can imagine that. So obviously you've been in such a fortunate position. You both have to be able to support hundreds of people locally in Luton. So you mentioned the Desmond program. You mentioned that there's a program available in Urdu as well. What other programs did you say were available? Have we missed anything?
There was Living with Diabetes in Urdu, and also we got a program which is Bengali as well, education, which my colleague delivers. So same with Bengali, they'd go on a mentorship program as well after that.
Sure.
So if the diabetes is at a high level, there's more than 60 mammals, they will go also on a mentorship program as well.
Great.
So they're offered that.
Just the Desmond, sorry. We actually do 2 programs, Desmond. So we do one Desmond and one Desmond Foundation. And one is for patients who've been diagnosed more than a year, or even if they've been, and it's been about 3 years, and you think it's a one-day program. So, you know, sometimes you do forget. So if you just want a refresher, then you can come. And it's also for newly diagnosed people with diabetes as well. And the living with diabetes in Urdu and Bengali, that's a shorter version of the Desmond.
Right.
So it's just
done in a similar way. But it's a similar style, but it's for 3 hours. And also with living with diabetes, you know, you can bring somebody along with you, you know, to support you and things like that, so they can, you know, I mainly, you know, advise that if the husbands are coming, the wives to come along, who's I was doing the cooking. So, you know, it'll be good for them to have somebody with them when they come.
Absolutely.
In fact, it's better because sometimes you will get the extra support from your partner, from your loved one, to have that hand-holding thing which normally people don't have.
And we had a man who came to Desmond and he said, well, I thought I might as well bring my wife because I know when I go home she's going to ask me everything anyway, so it's better that I just save that time.
Absolutely. So,
But people should not get frightened because there are Urdu speakers there to help you. I mean, we can help each other, and it's free as well. It doesn't cost anything. So come along and, you know, take advantage of this program.
And these programs don't say, actually, you know what, you can't eat anything, you have to stop this. What we encourage and promote in Desmond is actually, it's about portion control, like you mentioned. You know what, if you want a treat, you can have a treat. How often are you having that treat, and how much are you having? So it's all about, you know, trying to control.
And then if you do have a treat, try to work harder the next day. So, you know, you've had something, you've gone to a wedding, you've had gajrela and ice cream, and then, you know that you've had that, but next day, do a physical activity, which, you know, to burn off those calories, what you've had. So you can make up for that.
So I'm conscious that we have a program that's available in Urdu, but we haven't spoken at all in Urdu. So I'm looking at Fahad now to do a bit of a diabetes in Urdu section here. So I'm going to put you on the spot.
मुझे कोई मसला नहीं है कि तुम मुझे स्पॉट पे डालो, लेकिन मैं क्लिनिशियन नहीं हूँ, तो इसलिए मैं क्लिनिकल एडवाइस दे ही नहीं सकता. उसके लिए हमारे पास हमारी फरीद आपा मौजूद है जो कि आराम से बता सकती हैं इस बारे में ज़्यादा अच्छी तरीके से. मैं खाली जनरल इंटरवेंशन एडवाइस दे सकता हूँ कि इस वक्त लूटन में जो टोटल लूटन की पॉपुलेशन है उसमें तकरीबन 15 से 20 हज़ार के करीब लोग हैं जो कि टाइप 2 डायबिटिक्स हैं, ठीक है. और वो लोग जो कि हाईली प्रेवलेंट है फॉर नॉन डायबिटिक हाइपोग्लाइसेमिक आई प्री डायबिटिक, और ये जो है तकरीबन 7,500 के करीब लोग हैं. और ये मैं आपको फिगर्स कोट कर रहा हूँ NHS डिजिटल का जो नेशनल डायबिटीज़ ऑडिट है उसकी रिज़ल्ट है लास्ट ईयर के 2017-18 के रिज़ल्ट्स हैं. तो उसके तहत आप अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं कि इन 2 सालों के अंदर पॉपुलेशन और बड़ी होगी. अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम जो साउथ एशियन के बैकग्राउंड से ताल्लुक़ रखते हैं, साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी से बैकग्राउंड, या BME कम्युनिटीज़ यानी पाकिस्तानी एशियन बांग्लादेशी, पाकिस्तानी इंडियन बांग्लादेशी और दूसरे अदर साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी, हम जो है वो तकरीबन 6 टाइम मोर प्रेवलेंट है बिकमिंग डायबिटिक्स. बिकॉज हमारी 2 मेजर चीज़, हम लोग खाना जो है हमारा बेइंतहा जो है वो अनहेल्थी होता है, और एक्सरसाइज हमारी ज़्यादा होती नहीं है या मूवमेंट ज़्यादा होती नहीं है, तो उसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं, और इसी वजह से हम जो है वो ज़्यादा प्रेवलेंट है बिकमिंग डायबिटिक. तो अगर आपको शक है कि आप हो इस कैटेगरी में आप और एट रिस्क में, तो अगर आप डायबिटीज़ UK की वेबसाइट पर जाएँ, नो योर रिस्क टूल है, उसको अगर आप चेक करें अपनी सारी डिटेल्स डाल के, उसमें आपका नाम या आपकी और दूसरी डिटेल्स नहीं ली जाएगी, उसमें आपकी हाइट, वेट, कौन सी एथनिसिटी है, क्या है, वो डिटेल्स दी जाएगी. वो आपको बता सकता है कि किस रेंज पे आप हो, आप हाईली प्रेवलेंट हो डायबिटिक के या नहीं हो, और वही भी आपको गाइड करेगा कि आप अपनी GP सर्जरी से बात करें जाके किसी हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल से जो कि आपको ब्लड टेस्ट देगा. और आप बताएं फिर आप इन टर्म्स ऑफ.
मैं ये सिर्फ ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि आप ज़रूर आएँ लिविंग विद डायबिटीज़ इन उर्दू, क्योंकि आपके बहुत फ़ायदे हैं इसमें आने. आप डायबिटीज़ के बारे में सीख सकेंगे, डायबिटीज़ को किस तरह मैनेज करना है वो सीख सकेंगे, और जो आपके रिज़ल्ट्स हैं बायोमेडिकल, जैसे ब्लड प्रेशर के बारे में, कोलेस्ट्रॉल के बारे में, क्या टारगेट होना चाहिए, इस तरह की जो है ना रिज़ल्ट्स का क्या मतलब है, ये भी आपको इस सेशन में सिखाया जाएगा कि इनका क्या मतलब है. और डायबिटीज़ को किस तरह मैनेज करना है। दूसरी ये है कि इसमें बताया जाएगा कि डायबिटीज़ के लिए आपको कौन कौन सी स्क्रीनिंग की ज़रूरत है, जैसे रेटिनल स्क्रीनिंग, और ज़रूरी जाना है डॉक्टर्स के जो 6 मंथ्स रिव्यू होते हैं, एनुअल रिव्यू फॉर डायबिटीज़, उसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है। ओके, और दूसरा ये है आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी अगर आपकी डायबिटीज़ हाई है नहीं कंट्रोल में, तो आप 6 मंथ्स के लिए मेंटरशिप प्रोग्राम पे जाएंगे, तो वो हम दोनों साथ मिलकर आपकी डायबिटीज़ को कोशिश करेंगे कि वो कंट्रोल हो सके। सो ये भी बहुत फ़ायदा है अगर आप अटेंड करें तो।
किसी को
और मेरे पास है पेशेंट की फीडबैक जो फरहाद अब बताएगा कि उस पेशेंट ने जब अटेंड किया तो क्या क्या फ़ायदे हुए और कितनी वो बता रही है कि उसे किस तरह की मदद हमने दी है और कैसे उसके ये सर्विस लगी है।
Well, the patient said that I had visited many clinics and centers previously, but never had come across anyone who did the job like my dietitians. Sorry, directions. See, I need some glasses as well. That's what happens when I'm put on the spot. Yeah. So one of the major things she was saying is that she was diabetic and now undergoing a good control thanks to Farida and her team, and she's very thankful and for the support and information she has been given, and that made her realize that how shouldn't have she have taken the diabetes lightly, and every appointment is very great.
Sure, and if you could just explain in Urdu in terms of if people want more information, where can they get that from?
आप अपने जीपी को कांटेक्ट करें और आप हमारी टीम को कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, जो नंबर हमने बताया 03340533128।
और उसके अलावा जो है आप क्या नॉर्मल चेंजेस लेकर आ सकते हैं अपने दिन के अंदर जिसकी वजह से आप डायबिटीज़ के रिस्क से दूर रह सकते हैं?
जैसे हमने बताया जो मेन चीज़ें हैं वो आपका डाइट और एक्टिव रहना है, फिज़िकल एक्टिविटी। सो ये दो चीज़ें हैं और रेगुलर मेडिकेशन खाना ये बहुत ज़रूरी है।
और डेफिनेटली इफ़ यू आर हाईली प्रेवलेंट, और अगर आप हाईली प्रेवलेंट है डायबिटिक्स के, ये मींस अगर आपको डॉक्टर्स ने डायग्नोज किया है कि अगर आप जो है वो प्री डायबिटीज़ हैं आपको, तो उसमें भी आपके लिए ज़रूरी है कि आपको अपना खाना जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान से खाना पड़ेगा उसके अंदर, और आप एक्टिविटीज़ को ज़्यादा लेकर आना अपनी ज़िंदगी में।
So we've just had a call in from a listener. So firstly, thank you very much for the listeners who have been getting in touch. We've only got 50 seconds left. So it was just in regards to the statistics. We said that 6 times more likely South Asian population in the UK. But is that seen in the home countries as well, like Pakistan and Bangladesh? Is there high levels of diabetes there?
It has raised.
Yeah, it is.
It has raised quite a lot.
Yeah,
because the diets are changing back home as well, aren't they?
Yes, indeed, and I do have statistics data right in front of me, but in order to do that, it will be really long, and I haven't got enough time to explain.
So maybe we can add that onto the Facebook page in terms of answering that question. So thank you very much, listeners. Thank you very much to our guests for giving up their time, for being with us. We'd love to have you back again sometime in the future. We've got many shows upcoming. Next week, we're going to have oral health show with
yourself,
and Sue. So jazakallah khair to everyone for their time, and inshallah we'll see you again next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We stream our daily broadcast on inspirefm.org. You'll find all our daily updates on our social media at Inspire FM Luton.